What is up, everybody? I'm ExxotikGaming, and today I am back with another Pixel Gun 3D video. And today's video is my first review of many of one of the brand new weapons in the new 11.0.0 update. So, before we get into today's video, if you guys do enjoy this, I would really appreciate it a lot if you left a like, and more importantly, make sure to comment down below which weapon you would like to see me review next, because whatever weapon gets the most amount of requests in the comment section to this video will be the weapon that we review next. So with that being said, let's get right into today's review, which will be on the special weapon known as the Bad Doctor. Going into the armory section and looking at the stats of the Bad Doctor here, we can see that this is one of the more powerful weapons currently available in Pixel Gun 3D. With an efficiency set at 23 and a grade set at Epic, this weapon is comparable to other weapons like the High Voltage, the Alligator, and the Solar Ray Rifle in the special section. This weapon also has a 95 firing rate and an 8 capacity, which those two stats work very well together, considering this weapon is a 2 to 3 shot headshot or a 4 to 5 shot body shot to a max armored player. Now, that means that this was one of those weapons where, if you do encounter a max armored player, you can easily take them out because you will be able to take them out before you run out of ammo. You will easily be able to take them out, at least if you have some level of accuracy, before you run out of all 8 of your shots. Now, for right now, what we are going to do is go into a silent scroll match because, if you guys couldn't tell, this is one of those weapons which has, I guess you could say, needle travel time. Not a bullet travel time, but needle travel time, because this weapon shoots out needles rather than bullets. This weapon does have a 4x zoom, so if you do desire to go into a medium to long range map, you can. However, I do not recommend it just because this weapon does have, like I said, that needle travel time, and it gets pretty difficult to get any farther than about a medium range in a map like Paradise Resort. You will miss a lot of your shots in medium to long range, so it's best to stick into close range where you have the most accurate gameplay. Now, when you first use this weapon and you first purchase it, you won't really understand just how unique this weapon actually is. You're going to compare this weapon with something like the harpoon gun, or maybe the shuriken thrower, where it's really good, just by the way it actually is with its stats, but you don't really see the true special ability of this weapon. After using it a while though, you'll realize just how special this weapon actually is. It has a special ability that very few other weapons in Pixel Gun 3D have, and that is the poison ability. Another weapon that has this ability is the Poison Hunter, and as you guys can probably expect, this weapon's special ability basically poisons enemy players over time. If you hit somebody one single time with a shot, over time, they will start losing health to the point where they will eventually die from you poisoning them. It's kind of similar to something like in Minecraft, where if a witch hits you with their poison, the potion, it will slowly start killing you to the point where you may eventually die from that witch. That's very similar to what this weapon is like. Or in other video games, if you step in fire, you're going to slowly die from being burned, and eventually the burn will kill you, not necessarily that initial step on the fire. So it's a very cool feature, and it works surprisingly well. When I first started using the weapon, I was a little iffy because I didn't really know if this weapon would work too well with that ability, but over time I realized it works surprisingly well, and you can get a lot of really awesome kills in ways you would have never even thought you would be able to kill previously. It's actually pretty cool to see how many people you can kill, and you don't even need to really be there in the actual combat in order to kill them. You just have to hit them one single time, preferably with a headshot so they can already be down to a pretty low amount of health, and just let nature take its course. If I can hit this person one time, or hit somebody else, as you guys will see, I'm going to hit that person one time, and of course, that person was low on health, so they did die instantly, but if I hit somebody else, you guys will see, at least at some point in this video, somebody dying from being poisoned and not necessarily the initial shot with the weapon. This weapon kind of has a backstory to it as well with its name. The name is the Bad Doctor, and if you guys can get any sort of recognition to that, doctors tend to, be pretty sterile type people. They usually have their offices very clean, and all of their instruments that they use, including needles for like shots and stuff like your flu shots, they're always very, very clean, so you avoid getting any diseases from any other person who has used the needle in the past. However, this is called the Bad Doctor, an evil doctor. And if you could assume this, an evil doctor probably doesn't have the cleanest instruments in the world, and probably has the intention of actually killing his patients instead of curing them. So, he would have a lot of very bad diseases on that needle, and over time, they would get poisoned if they came in contact with that needle, and that is basically what this weapon does. You shoot a needle that's infected at an enemy player, and over time, they will eventually die from getting infected from that needle. And it's a pretty cool concept. I wonder who actually came up with this. Not entirely sure if ReallySoft did or somebody of their fans, but it's a really cool concept, and it works surprisingly well with this weapon. Now, this weapon is a little on the costly side. It's around 200-something gems, I believe, so I wouldn't really say it's probably worth its price, but if there was ever a time where ReallySoft did decrease the price to around 150, I'd probably say 150 is the upper limit with this weapon. I'd go up to 150 in terms of gems for the price of this, and anything more is probably not too necessary. I'm willing to bet that a majority of people who are watching this right now have the Poison Hunter, so if you have the Poison Hunter, it's probably best to not get the Bad Doctor and just stick with the Poison Hunter, because you will have the same effect with that weapon as you will with this weapon. So if you don't have either one of those weapons, it really depends on which type of match you go into. If you go into more of the longer range matches, like you tend to always go into Paradise Resort or Heaven Garden or something like that, then you're probably best off with the Poison Hunter. However, if you're somebody who always finds yourself going into Pool Party or Silent School or maybe Block Mart or something like that, then this is the weapon for you, because this is much better at close range. I do have to say this weapon looks a little interesting when you go into the shop menu or the armory and you look at it. Not the coolest looking in the armory, but it does look very high-tech and very sophisticated in-game, in first person, so that's always good. It's always good to have a cool-looking weapon. You never really want to use a weapon that doesn't really look all that powerful. If you do encounter somebody who has the Bad Doctor, you gotta be very careful. You have to try to avoid all of those shots as much as possible, for if you don't, you will find that you will eventually die from being poisoned. Now, this weapon does have that piercing shot ability, like I said before, so if you can manage to go down in something like the hallway in Silent School, shoot down that hallway, and actually infect upwards of like 3 to 4 people, you will get so many kills so fast with this weapon. Kills similar to maps or weapons like the laser bow and the prototype and stuff like that, where if you shoot down that hallway, you're just bound to hit at least one person. This is really great for that, and I really have gotten some epic gameplay in Silent School in particular when using this weapon. Now, it's a little difficult to sometimes win when using this weapon because there are other weapons that are better than this. This isn't like the ultimate weapon of Pixel Gun 3D. There are still quite a lot of other weapons that are better than this. If I was to compare this weapon without its poison ability to another one, it would be something like the harpoon gun, and you guys probably saw my harpoon gun review. It wasn't the most powerful weapon in the world. However, if you do manage to poison somebody, then you're going to get a lot of really awesome kills when using this weapon. Now, unfortunately, if you do kill somebody or you do poison them and they manage to run away from you, a lot of the time you're going to end up getting a kill assist and not an actual kill. That's one thing I have found when using this weapon, so be prepared to get a lot of kill assists when using this weapon, and not necessarily actual kills. Because if you do poison the person, somebody else might end up killing them before the poison eventually infects them to the point that they die. So, yeah guys, this is the Bad Doctor. The Bad Doctor review on a very evil weapon, a weapon that reflects something that we hopefully will never ever encounter in our lives, although there's probably at least one person out there who is a doctor who is a very, very bad person who wants to try to kill all of his/her patients, and this weapon would reflect that. As you guys could see, that was an example there of me poisoning that person and they eventually dying from that poison, and it's really, really cool. I was really happy that they added this into this update. I've wanted it for a long time since that Poison Hunter review was out, and I'm very happy, probably even more than them releasing this weapon, that they finally added it to the Poison Hunter. Because the Poison Hunter wasn't all that spectacular, wasn't all that special, and there really wasn't any reason why people should actually get the Poison Hunter. However, now, after using this weapon, and after having that special ability with the Poison Hunter, and with this one, I mean, a lot of people are probably going to end up purchasing the Poison Hunter. And I may even need to re-review the Poison Hunter because it's going to be changed a lot, and it's probably going to be a lot better now in these more recent updates than in the past updates. So that's pretty much it, guys. I don't really have too much else in terms of my review part of this weapon. The Bad Doctor's a good weapon, guys, and I would probably say it's not necessary. It's not 100% like you gotta have this weapon. If you don't, you're just not a good Pixel Gun 3D player, but you can do without it. But I would say if you do want to get some pretty creative gameplay, unique gameplay that you can't get with any other weapon, you may want to consider getting this weapon and use it in something like Silent School, because you're going to get gameplay very different from any other weapon out there in Pixel Gun 3D. And if you do have the Poison Hunter, it's going to be very similar gameplay to that, so probably avoid this if you do have the Poison Hunter, and if you don't, then I would consider getting this one over the Poison Hunter, because I would assume a majority of the time, most people would be going into close range rather than long range. However, if you do go into long range a lot more often than close range, get the Poison Hunter, and it's probably a much better bet than the Bad Doctor. However, you do have that 4x zoom, so in medium range, you might want to consider using this one, and you're going to be a lot more accurate when you do use that. If you don't use that, then be prepared that you're going to die a lot of times, because you're going to become pretty inaccurate at medium range, and that's really the only big downside with this weapon. Maybe the only big downside, or aside from that one, would be that it has a kind of slow firing rate. I mean, it does have a 95 firing rate, which is pretty good, but I mean, maybe if this was a little bit higher, that could be resulting in better gameplay, because there are other weapons that other players may have that are just a lot better than this one, just because they have a much better, faster firing rates. There are probably other sniper rifles out there that people can use at close range that would perform a lot better than this one, and overall, it's a pretty decent weapon. If I was to rate this weapon from 1 to 10, I'd probably give this weapon somewhere like an 8. An 8 is pretty decent. If I could rate something like the Harpoon Gun, I'd give that one like a 6, just because that one does not have that special poison ability, but overall, this weapon does yield some pretty decent gameplay. A lot of the time, you're not going to actually win matches, but you can get pretty close, and overall, this is one of those weapons where it's probably not best to use it the entire length of the match. This is one of those weapons where, kind of like a lot of the backup weapons in Pixel Gun 3D, if you use this weapon and then pair it with some of the other weapons in Pixel Gun 3D, that is where this weapon will shine its best. So, say you're using another weapon and you just want to, you encounter somebody that has adamant armor. Say you shoot them one time with this weapon. You shoot them one time and they get infected. Then you take out your automatic peacemaker or something like that and finish off the job. So that is kind of how I would use the weapon. I mean, it's all up to interpretation, but I wouldn't use this weapon the entire length of a match, just because it's kind of underpowered when it comes down to other weapons like the Trapper, like that guy had right there, or other ones like that. Maybe the Shuriken Thrower is another better example of something that's more powerful than this one, and it's just not the most powerful weapon in the world. But it is still good, and a lot of people do like it, and this is the weapon that Reallysoft revealed first in their most recent update, so that is why so many people want to have this weapon. It's the first weapon that people saw from this update, and overall, it's pretty good. So I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. I'm pretty much done with this review. Overall, my last marking reminder thing is it's not really necessary, but I would consider getting it if I was the person who was considering buying it. I mean, I already have it, but if I didn't have it, I would probably get this weapon just because it's so unique and different from any of the other weapons in Pixel Gun 3D. So that's pretty much it for this review, guys. I really hope you guys did enjoy this. I apologize if this review was not as good as some of my other ones. I am still sick, and I'm trying my hardest to not make my voice sound any bit bad. I was actually concentrating more on my voice than the actual review, so I hope there wasn't anything that I made any mistakes or anything like that. But if I did, then please let me know down below in the comments, and yeah, I'll be sure to address that in my own personal description of this video. So, yeah, if you guys did enjoy this, down below in the description, I'll have 3 videos, 3 other weapon reviews that you guys can go check out. I'll definitely recommend you guys to go check those ones out if you had any doubts on those weapons that I have listed down below in the description. And make sure to go check out my other series that I do on YouTube. I have a lot of other series that I do on YouTube, from random weapon gameplays, where I basically choose a specific topic and pretty much do gameplay with all the weapons that fit that topic. Colored weapon gameplay, which is the same as random weapon gameplay except with specific colors. I have a Deadly Games series, campaign series, which is probably my most popular series on my channel. Gun comparison series, where say if I wanted to compare the Bad Doctor and the Poison Hunter, I would do that, and many others. So that's pretty much it, guys. Again, I apologize if this review was not good enough, but I hope the gameplay and review was decent enough for you guys to determine whether or not you wanted to get this weapon. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you all for watching. If you guys did enjoy this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, comment down below which one you would like to see me review next, and that's pretty much it. So thank you all for watching again, and I will see you all right after I get one last kill. So let's see who it'll be. One last kill. Everybody's using the prototype, and unfortunately the prototype's a lot more powerful than this one, so it's pretty hard to avoid somebody who has the prototype or the ghost lantern. If you see somebody with the ghost lantern or the prototype or the trapper, you're probably best to just switch to another weapon that's more powerful than this one, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.